So day 4 of Comic Con, I didn't bother going to the Chuck panel. I just couldn't be bothered with the queue. From tweets that I've seen, the queue was almost as long as yesterday. Some people are saying it's longer, but looking at it around 9 o'clock, it didn't look like it was longer. It was a lot shorter. But still, it was going to be an early start, a long queue. It would probably have been a good panel. I was sitting outside it for a bit and all I could hear was shouts and cheers and stuff, so it would have been nice to be in it, but I just gave it a miss, and after that was Terranova. I could probably have got in for the second half of that. The queue was down to about 1,000 people, and I think it would have cleared out half the room after the Chuck panel. So I could have gone in for the second half of that, but what I'm going to do instead is just get into Indigo Ballroom, which is where the Guild panel is at 4 o'clock. It's now just after 11, and I'm just going to sit there. There's some stuff, Sanctuary, Being Human, Legendary Comics, then the Joss Whedon panel, and then the Guild. So I'm just going to sit through that. It should be good enough. Ballroom 20 today has a lot of animation. There's The Simpsons, Futurama, American Dad, and Family Guy. I love the shows, but I'm not really that bothered about seeing the panels. So I think I'm just going to stick with Ballroom 20, Indigo Ballroom today, which is in the Hilton. It's one of the that's a queue for it there. Oh, speaking of queues as well, same thing today. I walked past Hall H and there's no queue. It's basically no queue for Hall H, which is a good indication the hall isn't full. Ballroom 20 is full with over 4,000 people and over 1,000 people standing outside to get in. So I don't know why they keep doing this every year. There needs to be a change next year to swap the programming in Hall H and Ballroom 20, because this it just doesn't make sense the way they're doing it. So heading into the Indigo Ballroom now, and I'll take some footage of the panels while I'm sitting there.
Yeah, I have one.
I only heard parts of that conversation, but it seemed to be, the question, but it seemed to be about what my relationship's like with the studios I work with.
Because of controversy.
Because of the controversy. Oh, the controversies after the movies came out. I do my best to avoid them. You know, I really, when I'm on a set, I'm in a whirlwind and wanting to be true to the material. And as far as what I found is that if there is a chance of being upset at something, somebody will find it. You know, my stories are true to themselves, and they will continue to be.
Would you ever bring Buffy to Broadway?
You mean like take her to a show? I would. I can't say that I will, or that by the time I try to, anyone will want me to, but yeah, I think she belongs there. In the theater opposite where Dr. Horrible is.
Master of breaking our hearts by killing off fan favorites, you know, Tara, Anya, Giles, Joyce. But on a scale of 1 to 10 for Buffy Season 9, how badly are you planning on smashing our hearts into the ground and pulverizing them?
Look, you all know I want you to suffer. It's like a drug. Season 9 is not designed around tragedy, but then life seldom is. It just happens. Do I plan to do something awful and break your hearts? I'm not going to tell you. But Season 9 has some very edgy stuff in it, some very new stuff in it, but it is not built around darkness per se, except in the fact that, you know, Buffy is always and always trying to find out who she is, which can be complicated and sometimes dangerous and sticky and weird. But whether or not I'm going to do something appalling in season 9, I will not reveal, because that would take out the fun of your suffering. I wasn't going to, but now I am. Because of him. The thing that you have to understand is yes. I'll just say this. I've worked on a number of songs. I got a demo from Jed Marissa of a song that actually Zach pitched that they wrote, and as soon as I heard it, just like when we did the first one, I just said I would respectfully like to withdraw my songs. I'm sorry. It's so good.
At the end of the last season, there was sort of it seemed a change in Kodak's opinion of Zabu, and I was wondering, can you enlighten us on what we'll see of that in the upcoming season?
There's a baby.
There definitely was a huge shift in Kodak's realization that she, what does that mean?
Halfway through saying the word huge that I probably shouldn't have. I probably should invent a time machine and go back and not say that word.
Can you do that later?
Yeah, I'm on it.
So can I touch you now? And,
I guess I won't.
I didn't really touch you.
Real, huh?
Did it look real?
Ladies question. Oh, you slipped my throat.
Yes, we're going to see something. I don't know, something happened up there. We're going to see something happen with that. Definitely her POV of him as a human being is a little bit altered, and she might be exploring that as a character.
That'd be huge.
Time machine.
Hi, this morning on Twitter you commented on my t-shirt that I made of you, Felicia, so thank you.
Wait, come up here and show everybody. He handmade it. Not too close, guys. Just kidding. Yeah, pretty awesome. Thanks. No, really? Okay. Yeah, I mean, you could have come closer, potentially, but don't come back. When the time machine comes, you know.
Okay, what was your most favorite moment while shooting The Guild, either seasons 1 through 4?
Wow. I have to say that it was.
Politically correct.
What political? Why would I say something unpolitically correct? Like any scene without you in it? That would be. Every scene with Zabu. I have to say that the scene in season 1 where we were messing around and he put his finger on my lip. It was like, I gotta poo. That was, I mean, you don't have to poo right now.
No.
That was a quote. That was the funnest, like, we couldn't keep a straight face moment.
That was the scene that, at least for me personally, that I was like, I think we're on to something. You know, like, 'cause this was just sort of a fun, concept that Felicia came up with, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll do your fun little video and help you and, lend you my cameras and blah, 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 and you just help.
But you didn't think anything of it, right? Because Amy Okuda, I found that at the last convention, Amy Okuda was like, I don't want to go to this table read, right, Amy?
It was the day after my senior prom, and I was so...
hungover.
It was so early in the morning, and I was like, I have to get up
like
for
10 a.m.
this free video.
I'm just kidding.
All right, well, yeah, I didn't want to go. No, I did not. But I did.
I'm glad you did, because you're perfect.
Because my agent set me on it, and they made me.
And see, that's how Hollywood happens. or web video. I don't know.
Alright, it's after 6 now. In fact, it's after 7 now. It's 20 past 7. finish a full day at Comic Con, queuing and seeing some stuff at the end. The panel I wanted to see was The Guild, and like I said yesterday, Joss Whedon was in there before it. So I was in the queue for 11 o'clock. The Guild panel was 4 o'clock, and it took 3 hours to get in. And unfortunately, those 3 hours were spent in the sun. We were in the Indigo Ballroom, and it's the only one with long queues that you end up having to queue outside without any shade and without any tents or anything. So the worst thing about the sunburn is my tan line with where the lanyard was. So a burnt neck is one thing, but a burnt neck with a big white stripe in it's another. So that's a bit annoying, but at least I got into the panel. What I ended up getting into was the panel for it. It was Frank Miller. So it was interesting seeing him. He was a wee bit quirky. Sometimes I think he was being quirky for the sake of being quirky. The panel after that was Joss Whedon. It was actually a really good panel. Very, very funny. He was the only guy up there. He just did the whole thing himself without a moderator or anything. Very, very good panel. And after that panel was The Guild. Then they had the full cast there. It's one of the only shows. Well, actually Calgary. I think Calgary Comic Con was the first time outside of Comic Con that they've had the entire cast of The Guild at any one convention, but they were here again this year, and again it was a really good panel, and the Q&A was funny, as you might expect, very, very funny in fact, so definitely was worthwhile queuing, apart from the sunburn. I'm glad I was in line good and early, but I missed out on quite a lot of things. There was a lot of autograph sessions going on today that I missed out on. James Gunn. I'd really, really love to meet James Gunn, and he was signing, but if I had went to it, I wouldn't have got into the panel. And then there was draws for a lot of other ones that I wouldn't mind getting. There was even draws for a Joss Whedon autograph session. That's again just the way Comic Con works. You either see panels or you get autographs, but you can very rarely do both. Well, it's the end of a very long day at Comic Con. Saturday's always a busy day with a lot of stuff going on. I missed out on a zombie walk. I didn't get to see that, and I skipped the costume competition, the masquerade ball that they have here. It's a very high standard. It's a very good competition to watch, but it's a lot of work to get in. There's long queues for hours before, and it's just an awful lot of work to get in to see a fancy dress competition. I didn't even find anyone to get decent footage of them, so I can't even show you any of that, but if you search online you'll find plenty of photos and videos of the costume competition. So what I did do was go up to the Gaslamp Quarter and stand outside the sci-fi party for a bit. It's the big party of the weekend. That's what anyone who's anyone at Comic Con gets invited to. And there's a big media section, and usually after they go through, get their photos and interviews and that sort of thing, the people standing outside get to see them and can take their photo as they're going in through the door. But this year they had a barrier set up in a way that you could barely see what was going on at all, so they keep them well away from anyone else standing outside, so it wasn't worth standing around there because we really couldn't see anything at all. So I went to SlamCon. What that is the alternative sci-fi party organised by Bria Grant and Derek Hughes. What used to happen was that anyone who worked for the Sci-Fi Network got invited to the sci-fi party, but now that it's such a big exclusive event, they tend not to invite people like the writers of the shows, so they organise their own party in the Hyatt, and I was invited to that at the Knights of the Guild podcast last night. So I went up there, and it was really good. It was a good party. I got chatting to Kira Snyder, who writes for Eureka, and a few other people who write for other shows, so it was good. But same thing as Thursday, I had to leave early and get my car at the car park before midnight, so if I come back to Comic Con I'm definitely going to have to figure out where to park, so that I don't have to do that every evening, because I'm missing out on a lot of good stuff just having to leave early. But anyway, I'm going to get some sleep now and get ready for the last day of Comic Con.